everyone, and welcome back to Art Journal Sunday Prompts. Today we're going to talk about sort of a really good explanation of the first agreement of the four agreements. Now, I'm not sure if anybody has read the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's just four basic things to live your life with true integrity and honor. And the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. So basically, think about what you're going to say. Don't gossip. Be honest. That doesn't mean you have to talk all the time about candy floss and bubble gum and everything is sweet. Sometimes being honest is truly being honest with somebody. Don't say yes when you mean no. Like, just be truthful and honest with your speech. And it goes on to chapters. Be quite honest, for me, sometimes it's so wordy that it's so complicated to me. Then I read this quote the other day, and it was about 3 gates, and it totally explained it perfectly about how we should just generally be as human beings. And so I really did not want to forget the quote, and I wanted to journal it. So that's what this is about today. So in order to make gates, I took my Martha Stewart punch. It's this fence one. And I took the length of an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. And so I punched out my gate or my fence in the full length, leaving a little bit of a margin on either side, as you can see, like that. So that's the full length. And then I folded it so they were all relatively the same size, so they would look like gates. Now I was just cleaning. Oh, I took my corner rounder and rounded both top corners on each one. Then I wanted them to look all different and look like crackled paint. So I thought I'd play around with, I had a lot of these neutral colored paints that I just cleaned out my paint drawer. And this one is, what color does it? Oh, golden brown. This really cool green soft moss. And, some like this one. Look at this, suede. So I want to put some on these fences or gates. And then I'm going to crackle them. And I'm just going to try this technique. I tried it once before and it worked really well. So the first thing you're supposed to do is put on Mod Podge or white glue all over. Before that dries, you top it with your acrylic paint and then you dry it. And then when the paint spreads, it'll crackle. So let's give that a try. So I'm just going to put, I don't want them to be a solid color of anything, so I'm just going to paint them with random colors of these paints. Mod Podge here, and you see where I folded them? You can see the little crease lines there. And where's the other one? Right there. You see them on all of them. I'm not going to paint back here because this is the back of it. This is the front, but when it's folded in, that's going to be glued to the page. So I'm just painting from the crease lines out. So first I'll just put on the Mod Podge. So I've applied the Mod Podge to the first one here, as you can see. Then I'm taking a mixture of the golden brown, the suede, and that mossy green. So I dip my sponge in all 3 colors, and I'm just going to brush it lightly over top. I'm trying to keep all 3 colors because I really don't want it just to be, like I said, just one color. I've applied the paint, so I'm just going to take my heat gun and dry it and see what happens. You can see how I got some crackles in there. Remember, disregard all this. This is going to be on the back side, and there's the other side. Got some weird looking old fence, and then I'm going to rub Distress ink all over it. So I painted the inside because that's how it's going to go, like this. Oops, I guess I missed a little part there, so I'll paint that. And you see that's how it's going to go, and then I'll just distress it, and it'll pick up some of those crackly. I just wanted it to look old. Some of it crackled, and some of it didn't. But it's just, you play around with it. I just didn't want it just straight painted. There's some crackles there. They'll show up more once I add distressing to them. And I'll use Vintage Photo. Got all 3 gates done. They're all a little bit different. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some, the only yellow I have is a Mr. Huey's Sunshine, it's called. And I am going to take Delusions ink spray, and I'm just going to cover up the back of this page. First with yellow, or first with orange and then yellow, a little bit of both. I'll just kind of spray them all on. Ooh, that's a bright yellow. I love these sprays because you can work so quickly with them. I kind of wanted to use them as kind of like a paint. So by combining those 2 yummy sprays, the orange and the yellow, and I used a paintbrush, I got this really warm, beautifully, almost orangey, peachy, goldeny background. I love it. So I'm going to take one of these Dina Wakley stencils. I picked that up at the workshop, and I kind of like this one. It's 3 faces, and because I'm dealing with 3 gates, I want to put their 3 faces on this side here. I'm going to use light molding paste and just slap that on. I've used the heavy molding paste, but lately I'm loving this light stuff. It's just so much easier to work with. It feels like butter or something. I don't know. Like just so, I don't know if this is going to work, but we shall see. Because you just kind of scrape it on like icing, but it's even more easier to manipulate than it would be using cake icing. I really like the light, and it's very, like even the jar when you lift it, it almost feels weightless. So I'm going to do all 3 faces, and again this will all make sense when I get to the end and explain the quote and all of that to you. It's just such a beautiful quote. And then one more face down here. There we go. And then I'll just lift this stencil off, and hopefully it didn't ooze over too much. There. See what we got under here. Oh yeah, see the 3 faces? And I can just quickly wipe off the excess. So I'm just going to let those dry. Okay, they're all dry, and you probably saw how I added these little honeycomb ones. I just kind of wanted to draw the stenciling together to tie the 2 pages together, because I didn't have faces on this side. So I just put a little bit of honeycomb there and a little bit there. Right now they kind of feel puffy. They could be drier, but I can still work with them. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to take a foam brush. I'm just playing around here, experimenting. I'm going to take this liquid acrylic. I love this stuff. This one is a pearlescent one, so it's got a shimmer to it. I really like this stuff. It took me a long time to realize heavy body acrylic, medium acrylic, light acrylic, and liquid acrylic. But I think I got it now. So this one has a shimmer, and I buy this stuff at, when I go to Richard's, well, I should say my art store now. It used to be Richard's Art Store. We used to call Delta Richard's Art Store. So you can see I'm just splashing it on, and I'm going to take a baby wipe and just kind of gently just wipe it over my faces and just around, kind of blend it in. I don't know why I want blue, people, but why not? It just adds another color element to our page, right? And they're really pretty and satiny, and I'll put a little bit more over here on this honeycomb, and then a little bit more. These apply with a squeegee, see? And then you kind of drop it where I just dropped way too much over here. That's okay. And it just will fit. It's almost like using, I guess, distress ink where it goes in between the creases and stuff. I'll use some that I spilt over there. Just add a little bit more blue all around. And then the next thing I want to show you is these, my gates. I totally started off going on a completely different angle with this page, and it's going a completely different way than I thought, but I love it anyway. I love art journaling. I almost get into a different zone. I always have music playing, and I'm singing along and just in my own. I love it. I love the privacy. I love that I'm in my own room by myself. There. So there's our pretty stem molding, and it gives, see the nice dimension if I hold it up. See if I can, you can see how it's raised off the page. Isn't that neat? So I want to show you this. You know when you go to sometimes really cool urban restaurants and they always have art postcards and really zany postcards. I picked this one up. It was again at Delta Art Supply. And was going to use them in the collages for that art fundraiser we did. And I found them today on the floor of the car. They must have slipped out. And I looked at them. I thought, 3 little angels. I need 3 things on my gate. So I trimmed them all out, and I'm going to use them on my gates. So here they are. I put the gates like that. And like that. And like that. And then these little chickies are going to be glued on top. Because she didn't have a whole body, I'm just going to have her like she's just sort of hanging over. And where is my third little lady? Where did she go? Here she is. She's the tall one of the bunch. So she'll be down. I'll put her as far down as I can go. So I'm going to get these all glued on. And then I'll come back here and tie the whole thing together, and it will make total sense. So here is the finished page. I add a little butterfly to Lady's head, and I use Perlin pen. It's transparent but has a little glitter on it. And first I'll read you the quote. So remember I was telling you, it's just how we should all be in life, and it sort of explains the first agreement of the 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Before you speak, let your words pass through 3 gates. At the first gate, ask yourself, is it true? At the second, ask yourself, is it necessary? And at the third, ask, is it kind? And I wrote all of my words with my Pitt pen, this one, the black brush pen. Just really, really, really love this quote, and I didn't want to forget it. So you see my 3 ladies and my 3 little angels on the gates. I love those girls. They just look so whimsical, and she looks like she's looking down. Is it? Is it? And that they're also colored with this pen. So that is my page. Just about being impeccable when you speak. And you can't go wrong with it. You really can't. And I just found, it's a Sufi saying, and I just found this saying just explained it so, so well. So I just added some black distress ink around this because I didn't feel it was finished. I'm on my bed in my jammy, see. So I really love how this turned out. I love those images. They just look so wonderful. And I love the quote. And I had so much fun. And I'm glad I found these little whimsical little ballerinas with wings on them. So thank you so, so much for watching. And just remember, before you speak, Let your words pass through 3 gates and ask yourself, is it true? Is it necessary? And most importantly, is it kind? So thanks a lot for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next week for Art Journal Sunday Prompts. Bye.